If your LinkedIn content isn't performing, it's probably down to these 4 reasons. It's either your hook, the post format, the media that you chose, or simply the audience that you're speaking to. And in this video, we are going to go into the specifics of how you can solve for each of these 4 individual problems so that the LinkedIn algorithm can start pushing out your content. So let's get straight into this. Now, the first bit and where most people go wrong, especially on the platform, is that their hooks are just not good enough. So you've probably heard this, especially if you consume content around creating content, and that is that your hook is the most important piece of any content, whether that's a video or any written posts. So it makes sense that if you're creating any piece of content, a large portion of your time will go towards making the perfect hook. So when it comes to creating a perfect hook, you want to make sure that whatever hook it is that you are writing, it pulls on at least 2 to 5 of these levers. And so hook levers are the different things that you can add to your hook, makes people want to read the post more. So when it comes to these levers, there are 5 essential ones, and that is basically your narrative, negativity, credibility, monitor your numbers, and trendjacking. So whatever hook you're writing, if it's able to pull on at least 2 or more of these levers, you are setting yourself up for more success. Now, I want to explain each of these different levers so that you can understand them better and use them for your next post. And we'll start off with the negativity hook. So negativity is basically one of the psychological levers that you can pull. And this is basically framing whatever hook it is that you're writing, but in a more negative sense. So obviously that doesn't sound too good because no one wants to be the negative Nancy in any space. But when it comes to writing a hook, negativity is one of the strongest levers that you can pull on. Here's an example. Let's say that you're tired of all the AI slop that's invaded LinkedIn. Your hook could start with, I hate how much AI slop has overtaken the LinkedIn algorithm. So that can be your beginning statement, right? And so that is almost like one piece of the hook already. And in that piece of the hook, you are using a negativity lever to kind of draw the reader in before they read the rest of the hook. Now, one of the reasons why negativity is so strong, it's because it exists in polarity, meaning that it gets people to either side with you or side against you, right? And so for someone who might have not been experiencing any AI slop on the LinkedIn algorithm, they might disagree with you. And because they're coming from a point of, 1 or 2 sides, they are a lot more drawn into your post and finding out whether you are proving them right or you're proving them wrong. And so this is why negativity is such a powerful lever. So the next hook that we're going to be speaking about is monetary or numbers. So this hook is basically when you leverage either like a dollar value, like let's say 20 million, or a specific number. And the reason why this hook is so powerful is because it is a pattern interrupt. If you scroll on your LinkedIn timeline, you will see that a lot of the posts are mostly word. Rarely do people ever use numbers. And so when somebody sees a number, especially in the hook, it is a pattern interrupt that stops them from scrolling and immediately allows them to pay attention to what it is that you're saying, especially when you use bigger numbers. Think of it. There's a reason why a lot of these startups, whenever they raise a round of funding, the bigger the number of the funding round, the more likes it gets. And so we obviously don't want to inflate numbers or we don't want to, lie or anything. But if you have a specific number, statistic, percentage, monetary value that you can accompany in your hook, it is always recommended that you use that. Now, the next hook lever that I want to speak about is credibility. Now, credibility is so important, especially in a world of AI where it's easier than ever to just, go into Claude, write up a post and come and post it on LinkedIn. So credibility is really that layer that allows for people to actually trust that what it is that you're saying is factually true, right? And so whenever you have any form of credibility that you can inject into a hook, again, it's mandatory that you actually leverage that. A good example of this would be somebody who founded a marketing startup, but before that startup, they were actually a marketing executive at a bigger company. What they can do is they can leverage their experience or that credibility that they got and the weight that the previous company carries into whatever it is that they're writing. Obviously, they don't want to overuse this because, people will get tired and people will see that you keep sort of, using this lever, but you want to use it efficiently and you want to use it in as much of a smart way as possible. So a good hook example of this could be, I was the head of marketing at DoorDash for 5 years. These are 7 things that I wish I knew about marketing before ever starting whatever the startup name is, right? And so credibility is something that this person who's writing this hook can pull on, especially if they're trying to gain trust from their audience. Now, the final hook lever that we're going to be speaking about is trendjacking. Now, trendjacking, it's in its name, is basically when you are able to take a trend, something that's happening in the world that a lot of people know about, and you are able to take that and bring it into your ecosystem. And so now a good example of this would be somebody that works in the world of marketing, right? So obviously the biggest sporting event right now that's taking place at the recording of this video is the World Cup. And there have been so many monumental marketing moments that if anybody wanted to speak about, any marketing lesson or something like that, they could easily pull on any of the events that took place at the World Cup. A good example of this is what happened at the Levi Stadium. So because they were not an official FIFA sponsor, they couldn't have their logo kind of show when the different teams would come and play at their stadium. And so they had to cover it up. So if you operate in the world of marketing, whatever angle you want to approach this from, you could speak about how even though they covered it up, their logo still took shape. And because they spent so many marketing dollars over the years, that people still recognized that it was the Levi's logo, even though it was covered up, right? And so you can make it a lesson about the power of, brand or the power of marketing spend, whatever it is, right? And so trendjacking is really your ability to take something that's existing in the current world and inject it into your hook. Now, with any of these hook levers, you want to use them, in a very smart way in which allows for your hook to be perceived well so that the reader actually ends up reading whatever it is that you have to say. So those were the 5 hook levers. Now, the second reason why most people's content doesn't perform is because they selected the wrong post format. When I think of post formats, I kind of think of them in 4 buckets, which is text only, meaning it's just plain text plus image. So this could be an image, a still image, or it could be a specific graphic, a carousel, obviously any LinkedIn carousel, and then video, right? So what I've seen across the board on the platform is that people will pick a post, but they will attach the wrong format to that post. So let's say that you're an email marketing agency owner and you're posting on LinkedIn, and what you want to do is basically do a breakdown of some of the best sort of emails that you've received in your inbox in the last quarter. And so the best format that actually goes for the specific type of post you are doing is a carousel, because in a carousel, you're actually able to present the different marketing emails and do a detailed breakdown of why exactly it is that they worked. It is very, very important that whatever post that you are making, it has the right format. Now, the next reason why I see a lot of people's content fail is because they select the wrong media. So this obviously ties in with the previous reason, which is your post format, but the media is just a little bit more nuanced. So when it comes to your media, it's gonna fall into one of 2 buckets, whether you're gonna choose any media at all, or if you do go for media, we always recommend that you have some sort of IRL image. So IRL standing for in real life. And in real life images are basically images of you doing something. So it could be used at a speaking event. It could be a picture with you and your team. And so we've seen that these types of imagery or this type of media does work best whenever you do choose to go down the route of choosing a specific type of media. Or, like I said, you can also go down the route of not choosing any media at all. We've also seen that right now on the platform, that is also performing very well. And so it is genuinely up to you and what it is the post requires from you, right? Because let's say that you're just giving your take or opinion on something that's going on in your industry. That is something that you can leave text only. But let's say that you are highlighting somebody new that you've hired and you're so happy with their performance over the last quarter, then for that post to have its most maximum potential of doing well, you want to accompany that sort of the copy that you wrote together with an image of you and that specific person. Now, the fourth and final reason why most people's content doesn't do well is because of the audience that they are actively speaking to, right? So what we've seen across the board, again, being on the platform, several hours a day, working with clients, is the fact that a lot of people either fall into two buckets. Either they are posting the right content but to the wrong audience, or they are posting the wrong content to the right audience. So it can only fall in one of these two buckets. And so what we've seen is that if you are coming from, let's say, you used to work a job, you used to be an accountant somewhere, and now you want to start a marketing agency, right? A lot of the people that you are going to be connected to are going to be some of your former colleagues or people that you used to work in accounting with, right? And this is just a given. And so what we've seen is that people who fall into the bucket of right content, wrong audience are people who have not adapted their audience for the content that they want to be producing, right? And so if you're a marketing agency owner and you want to start giving tips on marketing and basically just really growing your brand in that specific direction, you need to make an intentioned effort to honestly either delete your account as a whole or start connecting with people who are in your ICP or who are relevant that might actually find value from what it is that you're posting. Otherwise, you will see that whatever content you put out will just go into the void and it won't generate any meaningful engagement. And so the people who fall into the second bucket, where it's the wrong content, right audience, are people who have the right audience, meaning that let's say that you run a sales startup and a lot of the people that follow you are heads of sales, VPs of sales, and people who run sales operations at different companies. So you have the right audience. And so if you're posting content about, just general AI content, speaking about the latest models and different stuff like that, now you have an issue because the content that you're producing is not in alignment with the audience that you've built up, especially if you built up that audience with intention. So if you're going to go down a route where you speak about something that's different, you want to make sure that you tie it into the specific industry. And so if you're going to speak about AI and how it affects sales. So you could speak about AI SDRs and how they don't work and different stuff like that. So you don't want to be posting the wrong content, especially if you have the right audience, because people can easily unfollow you. They can easily remove their connections with you if they see that you aren't providing any value towards their timeline. So that was it for this video. These were the 4 main reasons I've seen people's posts not perform to the level that it should be, honestly, especially after spending several hours on the platform every single day, writing for founders, executives, and creators. And so you want to make sure that if you are looking at your profile and your content, you want to make sure that you investigate for one of these 4 things. And sometimes it could even be 2, 3, or all 4 of these. And so I hope this video was helpful, that you can now go back to your content, look at it, and really, come at it from a new angle and lens and see if you can improve it to start making better content that the algorithm loves. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.